Hey everyone, what's up? This is the PalPi version 2, which is a huge handheld retro gaming console powered by a Raspberry Pi 3B Plus. The goal for making this project was to make a low-costing game console like a Nintendo Switch or a Steam Deck that can run most retro games that I really enjoy, like Doom or Pokemon games, Dragon Ball or other stuff. This console have more than 40 games preloaded on it. Also, we can add any game on this console. For example, I have loaded this Dragon Ball Advance Adventure on this game console through WinSCP or by manually transferring the ROM file on the memory card. We'll explain more about this process later in the video. I started this project few months ago. I first made the PalPi version 1, which was powered by a Raspberry Pi Zero. It had a composite PAL display and it was functional. To upgrade that setup, I prepared the version 2, which is now powered by a Raspberry Pi 3B Plus and had a 7-inch IPS display that is connected to a Raspberry Pi with an HDMI cable. I made the version 2, but it was unfinished as it doesn't have the custom buttons and a power distribution board. Previously, I hooked the setup with my PalPi version 1 PCB to just prove the concept that it can work with this setup if we change the shape of the PCB. In this video, I'm gonna show you guys the whole process of making this game console in few easy steps. So let's get started. In my previous video, I prepared the body and the basic setup of PalPi version 2. The only thing that it didn't have was its custom power distribution board and custom left and right side button PCB. So I designed the left side and right side button board which have all the D-pad and XYAB buttons on it. I also made a power distribution board that contains an IP5306 IC, which is a lithium-ion power management IC that is usually used in the commercial power banks. It has overcharge and over discharge protection for lithium-ion cells, so we don't have to add any external PCM modules to each cell for protection. Also, it have fuel gauge indicators that indicate the battery level percentage, which is just awesome. I use this 18650 dual cell holder in my design to hold two cells in parallel. IP5306 module take 3.7 volt from these two lithium cells and boost the voltage to 5 volt and constant 2 ampere current. I prepared the PCB by using this schematic in my OrCAD PCB suite. I also added these con pin for left side buttons and right side buttons. IP5306 setup Vout are connected to a Raspberry Pi header pin 5 volt and ground port. I also connected the button input GPIOs to these two connector pins. My plan is to connect the button PCB to this power distribution board manually with wires. After finalizing the PCB, I exported its Gerber data and sent that to PCBWay for samples. I choose black solder mask for buttons board and purple solder mask for the power distribution board. Now if you look closely, I have added few graphics on the PCB to increase the aesthetic of the board. The quality of the PCBs that I receive is just wow. PCBWay did an awesome job of making these PCB with no problem whatsoever. Check out PCBWay for getting great PCB service at a less cost. As for the body of this project, I prepared this body frame which was initially a frame for supporting the display. I made this body in Fusion 360 and then 3D printed all the parts on my Ender 3 with white PLA. I then assembled the whole display and added Raspberry Pi model 3B Plus on the back side of display with given mounting holes. After assembly, we now have a cool looking Raspberry Pi setup with a proper robust body. As for the display, I'm using this Raspberry Pi IPS Touch 7-inch display which I got from PCBWay's gift shop. Its resolution is 1024 by 600 pixels and it have an HDMI interface, which means we can hook it up directly with Raspberry Pi through a small HDMI cable. The assembly process of this PCB include 4 major things, which are solder paste dispensing process, pick and place process, hot plate reflow soldering process and THT component soldering. Now the first step is to add solder paste to each component pad one by one. To apply solder paste, I'm using a solder paste dispensing needle with a wide syringe, and the solder paste that I'm using is a regular solder paste consisting of 63% tin and 37% lead. After applying solder paste, we move on to the next step, which is to add components to their assigned location one by one. I used ESD tweezer to carefully pick and place each component in its place. After the pick and place process, I carefully lifted the whole circuit board and place it on my DIY SMT hot plate. The hot plate heats this PCB from below up to the solder paste melting temperature. As soon as the PCB reaches that temperature, solder paste melt and all the components get soldered to their pads. We lift the PCB and then place it on a cooler surface for a little bit to cool down the heat of PCB. After that, we add remaining THT components, which are header pins and a micro USB port. After adding THT components, our circuit is completed. For the power source, I am using these two lithium cells, each of 2600 mAh capacity, which means we get total of 5200 mAh capacity, as both are connected in parallel. More capacity here means more battery life, which means more fun. We plug both cells on the holder in the right polarity and then use a multimeter to measure the output voltage of IP5306, which should be 5 volt. After testing the board, we start the assembly process of the button board, which is all just through hole component assembly. This is the button board that I made for PalPi version 2. For D-pad and XYAB buttons, I am using this toggle switch, and for hotkey TR, TL, start and select buttons, I am using this toggle key switch. Both are same function wise, but the only difference is the color. I first gathered all the buttons and started the assembly process of the switches. After that, I solder all their pads and the THT assembly of the button board is completed. To start the assembly process, I first had to make a header pin extension, as I didn't realize earlier that I placed the GPIO header pins in the wrong position. That is not a problem at all, as this means I now have to change the direction of adding this power distribution board to the Raspberry Pi, which is alright. But the issue here is that because of the length of the USB port is greater than the header pins, we cannot add the board to the Raspberry Pi because of this issue. Again, not a problem, as I made an extension for the header pins which consist of two male and female header pins. We place two header pins side by side like this and solder the connectors with each other. The goal here is to add this female header pin on Raspberry Pi, and this male header pin connector will get connected with the female header pin on the power distribution board. By placing this extension in between Raspberry Pi and power distribution board, we elevate this board a little bit, and now we have no issue of placement for the power distribution board and Raspberry Pi. Both of these button board will be connected to the body of game controller from front side, which means I have to wire it to the power distribution board from back side. And for that, I added wires to both button boards. I added red wire to the right side button board and the green wires to the left side button board. I then connected each wire to its assigned place, and all the connections are labeled, so it was not a complex process. This was the end result. Now to permanently place the PCB in its place, I added M3 screws from the top side. Also, because this setup have electronic stuff at backside, we cannot just place it normally. I had to make this makeshift ramp to lift the game console body from both sides and keep the middle part lifted from ground. After adding PCBs in their place with screws, I then added this USB cable to 5 volt and ground of power distribution board. This USB will power the display. I then added the small HDMI cable between display and Raspberry Pi. To complete this project, I first added few cable ties on the left and right side of button controller wire. Now if you look closely, this power distribution board rests its weight entirely on the GPIO header pins. There isn't any supporting structure connected to it. This circuit has two lithium cells at one side, and as a result it keeps bending downwards. To eliminate this issue, I 3D printed the support part that we can glue between the circuit and the lower body to make a ramp kind of thing that will support the circuit. I use super glue to attach the ramp to the body of game console and then use hot glue to connect the circuit with it. At last I added hot glue on places where I have done soldering. And the PAL Pi version 3 is now completed. Now we can turn it on and boot it up for first time. As for the game controller OS, I am using Recalbox OS here. Why Recalbox OS? Why not use RetroPie or other OS? Well, the answer here is simple. Recalbox is an easy to use OS that comes with a lot of free games pre-installed. Also, its size is very small, so we can run it on low spec Raspberry Pi systems. Like in my case, I am using a Raspberry Pi model 3B Plus which has 1 GB RAM. It's not exactly a powerhouse, but it can handle few retro games without breaking a sweat. Probably. Installing it is also very easy. Download the Raspberry Pi Imager, select the right OS for your device, which would be Recalbox, select your system, which is Raspberry Pi model 3B Plus. Raspberry Pi Imager will do the work of downloading and installing the Recalbox on the memory card. After installing the Recalbox OS, you need to plug your Raspberry Pi setup with a keyboard, as the first boot always require a keyboard. After booting the whole setup, our Recalbox works like a normal emulator. To start this setup, we press the button present on the Raspberry Pi distribution board and it will turn on the IP5306 IC, which will then power the Raspberry Pi and the display. The D-pad is for navigating the menu and XYAB is for choosing stuff. Now there's no sound on this setup, but worry not. This is a Raspberry Pi 3B Plus, which means it does have Bluetooth, which means we can pair any Bluetooth device like a Bluetooth headphone or a Bluetooth speaker with this setup and it will revert the system audio on it. To do that, we go to the setting menu and to the Bluetooth controller and add a new Bluetooth device. Pair it up and the Bluetooth system will get activated. As for the sound, I am using my previously made Jaco Lal10 Bluetooth speaker that you can check out from here. Now let's run some games on this setup. Recalbox has so many inbuilt games on it. It even has Doom. We can also play old Wolfenstein on this console, which is really cool. Not to forget, we can play Pokemon games on this console as well. This is an open source retro game emulator, which means we can add any old game from any game system and run on this setup. We first need to download the custom ROM of any game you want to play on this console. For example, I downloaded the Pokemon Emerald ROM. Then we need to first connect the Recalbox to our Wi-Fi router. We open WinSCP and add Recalbox IP address on it along with the username, root, and the password for the Pi is Recalbox root. Now go to this menu, Recalbox share and ROM. It contains all the emulator folders which contains the game ROMs. I want to add Pokemon Emerald in it which runs on Game Boy Advance. So I had to copy paste its ROM file in the GBA folder. Now reboot your Raspberry Pi setup and open GBA emulator and you will see the newly added game. It's a low costing game console that is surprisingly practical as it can run pretty much everything we throw at it. And the display is larger than the previous edition. To increase the power of the setup, we can easily swap the Raspberry Pi 3B Plus with a Raspberry Pi 4, which will increase the system working capabilities and we can run much more powerful games on it through PlayStation emulator. It's completely DIY and easy to remake. But making this project required lot of time and it cannot run new games or even mobile games. And the battery life is a joke. We only get 3 hours of constant use. Because of its size, this setup weighs around 600 grams, which is heavy for a game console. This is the PalPi version 3 which is currently in development. I will post more about this project in few weeks. This is it for today folks. If you like this video then do not forget to hit the subscribe button. Check out PalPi version 1 for more info about this project of mine. I've made couple of videos on this topic that you can also check out. Thanks PCBWay for supporting this project. You can check them out if you need any type of PCB or 3D printed related services. Thanks again and Happy New Year.